There's a hole in my Minecraft world, a massive hole that I've been mining for the last 800 days in this hardcore kingdom. And by the end of this episode, this hole will be transformed into a beautiful rainbow chunk. But in order to do that, we're gonna need all of the different colors of dye. So I say, let's head on a little bit of an adventure. It always feels good to get out of the kingdom and go explore for a little bit. But here, as you can see, we are back at the cathedral next to Eclipse, and I am happy to announce that we have all 16 colors of dye. We can head inside the interior of our storage cathedral, and over on this end we have a storage chest with all of our dye colors. And we'll eventually use all of those colors of dye to make a big wool farm, which will give us all of the wool that we need in order to fill this entire chunk that we have right here in. I'm so excited to make this entire chunk into a rainbow, but unfortunately we still have a couple of steps to go in order to get there. You see, the wool farm that we're going to be making is kind of expensive on iron, and although we made our iron farm about 500 days ago, it's pretty much been in disrepair since we built it, and I've been mining away to get all of the iron that we've been needing for our builds. But as I'm telling you, this wool farm is particularly iron heavy, and so it might be a good bet to get this guy up and running once again, and I think I have a pretty interesting solution for doing it as well, although it might be kind of expensive. So let's get to work on Iron Farm version 2, and if you like my strategy for fixing it, please let me know with dropping a like on the video. As you saw through the cinematic, my strategy here was to use tinted glass. We have this cutesy little bridge that leads on over to an amethyst geode, and if we head inside, you'll notice that we have a bit of an amethyst shard farm. The key to this type of farm are these blocks right here with the special indents. These blocks, and only these blocks, can grow the shards over time. The most efficient way to grow these shards is to expose all of these blocks to air on all 4 sides. Doing so allows the maximum amount of shards to grow at once. However, it does take some patience to get a bunch of shards. Regardless, we can leave the geode and head on over to the iron farm, after a quick stop to the cathedral, that is, where we can grab ourselves our tinted glass. I really do love the interior that we have here. It's one of my favorite things that we've made. So let's hop on Eclipse and head on over to the iron farm. And here we are. We've come such a long way in the 500 days since episode 3, but we can let Eclipse hang out right over here by the cherry tree, and we'll be using our tinted glass to cover up this area of the farm. That way we'll hopefully not have any more zombies burn up in the sun. For those of you that have been here since episode 3, you'll know that that's already happened twice, and we might as well put a couple more crops in this area too. So let's get this iron farm back up and running cinematic style. It'll come as a surprise to none of you that I got a bit carried away, but the good news is we shouldn't ever have iron problems again. I mean, fingers crossed. We've surrounded our iron farm in this awesome glass dome. You'll notice that it's spotted with tinted glass, which blocks the light from coming in and hitting the zombie. However, as you can tell, there's a perfect amount of space to fit the iron golems in so that they can spawn and then fall to be burned in the lava. And I gotta say, this bad boy is quite efficient. Better yet, we've covered this entire area with farmland. It feels like a job well done. And as a added benefit, it prevents iron golem spawning as well. You can see here that I tried out a different type of path. We have spruce slabs, some acacia logs, spruce logs, and then some dripstone here too. And I had wanted to see if this color palette works, and I totally think that it does. I am going to consider putting this path design down in the rest of the kingdom, although I gotta say, it is quite expensive. However, ladies and gentlemen, iron is no longer expensive at our kingdom. Matter of fact, it might be cheaper than clicking the like button. We can head into our chest to where we'll be met with a boatload of iron, and better yet, we'll be starting to work on this area of the kingdom a little bit more going forward, which means that the iron farm behind me is going to consistently keep running. And so, since I have a feeling that we're going to have a ton of iron at some point, I've made a little bit of a storage cabin. If we head off to the sides, you'll notice that I also used tinted glass for the windows. The build has plenty of trapdoors as always, and I think that it struck up a perfect balance of texture. You don't want to over detail and you don't want to under detail, and I think that this strikes the balance pretty well. And so we can head inside, and you'll see that we have a little bit of a storage area here. We have a bunch of barrels, and I included a cauldron here just for some extra decoration. This area is of course dotted with a couple of tall flowers as well, and I think it really gives this area an extra reason to visit. I used to hate to come to visit the iron farm. The first reason was because it didn't work, and the second reason was because I thought that this area really didn't look that good. But now I really do just love hanging out here and watching the iron golems fall into the lava pit, and I do think that this place is worth checking out upon the day 1000 World Tour download. Although as you can see right here, it's day 854, meaning that we still have about 40 hours of time ahead of us. And as we head down the path, you'll notice that I use plenty of lanterns, because I love the vibe that you get when you hang them off the cherry tree. But you'll notice that as we head down the hill, we have two double chests waiting for us. This first one here is filled with tons of shears and iron, and the second chest is filled with all of the materials that we're going to be needing in order to make our wool farm. And as you can tell with all these minecarts with hoppers, this build is not cheap, so you can see why we needed to get our iron farm up and going. But I am nowhere near smart enough to know how to make a farm like this, so we'll be following a tutorial by Nivola MC, which of course will be linked in the description. So I say let's knuckle down and build this farm, and then I'll check in with you all when things are good to go. To be honest, that wasn't nearly as much of a pain as I thought it would be. It seems that once you get the materials, it's only a factor of building this farm. Although we still have to get each sheep dyed by the color spectrum, which we'll get to doing in a little bit, but as you can tell, this sheep farm is firing. Each one of our dispensers has 8 shears, so we should be good to go for the time being. And while we wait to get a whole ton of sheep, there's only one thing left to do, and that is to make a beautiful build in this area right here. Oh my, oh my, oh my. I think that I might have outdone myself with this one. As you can see here, we have an awesome sheep farm, and I've really gone the extra mile putting on all the details. We can walk up along our stone path where we have this beautiful tower, or lodge, or castle, or whatever it is. This awesome, beautiful building, which may be my best build yet thus far. Although it's kind of hard to compete with this bad boy that we have in the distance, which is from episode 5. If you haven't seen it, I totally recommend it. But I decided to use just as much detail with this build. We have this beautiful walkway here that goes on into the woods, which is an area that I'm super excited to spread into in the future. And we have tons of pots with a bunch of different flowers and saplings, alongside our 2 different wheat fields, which I think gives a good amount of variety to the crops in the area. And over to the left right here, we have a bit of a wheelbarrow. I love the vibe that the mangrove accents give it, and I think that it's a worthwhile addition to any survival world. And the pond right here, right next to our storage area, is decorated with tons of different flowers. We have lilacs and peonies, and then you'll notice that this place is also decorated with tons of slabs, which gives a really nice detailed kind of atmosphere to the pond. And over by this end of the house right here, we have another pond that I've detailed the same way. I gotta say, this area was looking so barren before, and having a couple of ponds in the area just like this really changes the vibe and makes the entire area feel so much more lived in. And if we head down the path right here, you'll notice that we're gonna wind up on a bit of a dock area. We've once again kept to the theme of mangrove, spruce, in dark oak, and it matches so perfectly to the dock that this might be my favorite dock that I've ever made. We've got barrels with spruce trapdoors, and then we have mangrove trapdoors here, and when it's all put together, it just comes out perfectly, and it gives an awesome little look into the areas that we still have yet to explore. And I think my favorite view is the one that we get from the dock too. You'll notice that we have two tall flowers that are spread out side by side, and to contain all the flowers, we have stone bricks with stone brick walls, which in my opinion just looks really nice. And as the sun sets across the river, you can see that we have a wonderful view of the new build. One thing that I've really been trying to do recently is focus on lighting when it comes to builds. And with the toolbar off, you'll notice that I've paid extra attention to the lighting for this build. And now I say that it's time to head inside to show you what it's all about. And just like always, I've done a full interior. And so we can quickly take a look at the build from the front. It has tons of mangrove trapdoors and crimson buttons. And my oh my, do I love the look of crimson trapdoors. And you didn't see it in the replay mod, but I ended up putting tons of jungle leaves up on the roof right here. And in my opinion, it's the perfect little accent that we needed for the build. We have an awesome Japanese sort of style looking roof, and then we have towers over in the distance here by the moon. And for my first attempt with experimenting with new build styles and new color palettes, I would consider it a total success. But we can head inside the sheep farm, where we're met with a pretty cool looking interior. You can see that the farm is working because all of the sheep don't have any of their wool on there, and you may be able to hear the sounds of the shears working too. But if we head down here, you'll notice that we have a trapdoor underneath every single sheep, and inside the chest we're gonna have a ton of wool. And the same applies for every single chest that we have in here, except for it looks like not all sheep were created equal, because if we head inside and we head over to where our pink sheep is right here, if we head into the chest, you'll notice it only has 4 stacks. But it's no matter because we should have enough wool to fill up the entire chunk, which is something that I've been steadily working away at. But we can head up the ladder here, and we'll be met with a second interior for the build. We've got a bit of a seating area right here. We have tons of accents with cups and flowers, and I must say I do really like the look of the tinted glass. We sure have been using it a lot this episode. And so we have some extra storage on the side, and we have some tree looking things over here too. And the other room over here looks very similar. We have another seating area, some more storage and some extra trees, and then right here we actually have some iron blocks, which is crazy that we can afford now. It's my first time ever being able to do that. And the entire area is of course accented with tons of trapdoors, but we can head up here and we have an awesome look at the rest of the kingdom as well. And if we head back to the middle area, we have our patio out here giving another wonderful look at the kingdom. This area is supposed to be like a grilling out area, and so we have some meat over here, and then we have some veggies in this direction here, and we have a seating area where you can look out at the rest of the kingdom. And I gotta say, I wish that I could live in this house. It's exactly what we're looking for, and I think that all the details are wonderful. And so we can head back inside and then head up the ladder to the 3rd floor, where we'll be met with another small interior. It's quaint, it's cozy, and it has a couple of scenic overlooks at the rest of the kingdom, which is exactly what I was looking for. And so as the sun rises, it's finally time to build our rainbow chunk. We can fly off the balcony and head over to our chunk area, and we can get a good look of all of the work that I've been doing. And so as we head on over, and before we look down, let's take a look at all of the work that I've been doing, and let's do it cinematic style. And so, as you can see, we've made it all the way to bedrock. I'm gonna crouch on down and we can zoom on in, and you'll see that the only thing that we've left are the diamonds. And I must say, it's quite a crazy experience when we fly down here. I don't really want to talk while I do it, but as you can see here, we have reached bedrock, and we have a couple of caves here, no ancient cities or anything like that. But I gotta say, this is quite a cool feat. If you're thinking about playing in a long-term world and you want to do it, I super recommend doing it. Just don't put a deadline on yourself and do this method whenever you need materials for a build. And slowly but surely, you'll have a cave that's looking just like this. But ours is about to look a ton different. As you know, it's about to be an entire rainbow. It takes 122 blocks to reach the top of our chunk, and within no time, these 122 blocks are going to become a rainbow. And so if you're down with that, leave a like on the video and make the cinematic good, Editor Slip. And so, I think we can definitely say that we have the most decorated chunk in all of hardcore Minecraft. As you can see, I've been doing a little bit of work off camera. I wanted to extra decorate this place, and knowing me, the best way to do it is with crops. And so we have stone walls everywhere you can see, and of course, I've taken the care to place down lanterns in every single place where we need light. I guess except for a couple of torches down there. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is the time that we have all been waiting for. We can take a final look at our decorated hole, which is definitely a weird thing to say, but as you can see, we have an entire rainbow. And you'll notice I covered up the bedrock floor with even more wool in a colored fashion, which honestly just gives a really cool vibe. And it's funny, it's actually out of render distance, but we have something down here waiting for us. And so we can jump down into our rainbow. And at the bottom, you'll notice, woo, gotta be careful there, Slip. And then you'll notice that we have 4 chests down here. And you'll also notice that I do have some gold in hand, because as any Irish man or woman could tell you, at the end of the rainbow, you have a pot of gold. And so we're gonna place our gold in this chest, giving us some official lore to our kingdom, which I've officially named Lycos, which I may have already mentioned, but if not, there it is. And just as exciting is the fact that we've reached day 1000 in this world. You can see it right here on the day screen. And gosh, we still have a lot more to do, which I'm excited for, and I really do think that this kingdom is starting to come together. And as you can see, it takes 3 full rockets for us to pop out here. And so as always, there's more to come soon. But that is gonna be it for today's episode. We made an awesome automatic wool farm, and we decorated this incredible rainbow chunk as well. If you enjoyed this video, please do consider leaving a like, and as always, I will see you in the next video.